Hey folks, John with Complete Technology Solutions, your friend in the computer business. Guys, okay, you know that GMKTek has sent us some crazy cool systems. And guys, just for reference, I still have them all. We test them all on the channel for those retro game systems. But I got a little email and the guy said, you know, this might be a little bit heavier than what you were looking for, but let's see what he was talking about. Here we go. Yeah, guys, you know, I have, my goal whenever we started doing the mini PCs was to go ahead and create what I would consider the ultimate retro gaming system. So something that would emulate everything from ancient to relatively modern. And we're talking about up into the PS2, maybe PS3, Xbox 360 era, just depending on what we found. And you guys have seen in a couple of the past videos, we've done that. We've actually found some of those that will run all that without too much of trouble. Well, this is one brutal machine. This is the NucBox M5 Pro. This has got the Ryzen 5700, 32 gigs of RAM, and a 1 terabyte NVMe. This thing is way beyond what we intended for, you know, regular old gaming and stuff. But I do have another purpose in mind. But let's take a little look at this, guys. They surprised me with this one. GMKTek had sent me an email and said, hey, we've got a brand new model. Do you want to take a look at it? And I told him when I saw it, I was like, man, this is kind of overkill for what we're doing. He's like, yeah, I understand, but there may be another application, because he'd heard about what I was thinking about doing. And by the way, we'll talk about that here in just a second. All right, going over here to Stumpy, let's take a look and see. Boy, as usual, guys, the packaging. Now listen, guys, that is a lot heavier and a lot bigger than the standard GMKTek boxes you've seen them. I mean, they might be a third of this thing, half at best, so it's a very large box. Let's cracking it open. Let's see what's in here. Oh wow, guys, that is okay. Don't quote me on this, but I believe they call this Arctic blue, and I do love that color. Check it out. It almost looks kind of like a baby blue, but the camera's not really bringing it across. It's more like almost a metallic blue. It's really, really nice. So let's take that out of the box here. We'll look at that in a second. What else do we get in here? So in the box we get some, looks like a small piece of documentation here. And yeah, it is pretty much basic. Plug it into the wall, turn it on. We can probably figure that out. Okay. Down here we got what I would presume is our power supply. And yes, we do have power supply. And this is this is the HDMI cable. This is the wall mount brackets if you want to mount it to the wall, which means this is going to be our power supply. Okay, now here's a big difference, guys. Instead of having a wall wart, you guys have seen those on pretty much every one of these we've tested. This one actually has an actual little power supply more akin to a laptop. I can only assume because that's going to draw a little bit more power. Duh. Because it has a lot more power inside of it, but we'll see what that does. But yeah, that's what that is. So, tell you what we're gonna do. I know for a fact that this comes pre-installed with Windows 11. I am going to save us a lot of time here. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get the initial unwrap of this done. So I'm gonna let it go ahead and unwrap, dump us into the desktop of Windows 11, and then let's just take a look at some of the base stats on it. Be right back. So guys, I unboxed this thing. I want to show you something I noticed kind of cool about this. So going over here to Stumpy, you've got cooling grates on both sides of this. And you can see, you can actually have a fan inside there. So we've got active cooling on that. That doesn't surprise me with a Ryzen 7. It really doesn't. Going around the sides here, you've got Type C, which is good because if you recall, the most powerful one we've received from GMKTek had a Type C, but it was only their power in. So it's kind of cool to have a Type C on there. You've got two USB 3.1s going on around to the back. You've got 2 gigabit LAN ports, your power connection. You've got your HDMI connection. You've got your DisplayPort adapter. And you've got 2 standard USB 2.0s here. Guys, it's a pretty standard setup on the back. Honestly, this is about what I would expect to see on any pretty modern day PC. You do have an audio jack up front here too if you decide to use that. So Yeah. All right. Connecting it up, unwrapping, be right back. All right, folks, so we have got this thing loaded up with Windows 11. Just to let you know, we're on a 300 megabit connection here at the flea market. It's all I can get, unfortunately, as far as business goes here. So from initial unwrap to complete load with all Windows 11 updates has taken about 19 minutes. Not too terribly bad. We can live with that. There were 2 reboots. Reboots are taking an average of 8 to 12 seconds. So it's extremely fast. I've gone ahead and I've loaded on Steam and Helldivers too, because that seems to be what everybody is playing. So we'll jump into a little of that here in a second and see how it actually performs. But as you can see, I'm actually cranking in the last of the updates right now. And there are, let's see here, I think I've got a few more that are coming up here. But as you can see, we've got the NucBox5 M5 right there, running the AMD Ryzen 7 5700U. Now, this is a 4 gigahertz processor, actually 4.3, I believe. It runs stable in the 3 gig, bursts up to 4.3. It is an 8-core processor with 16 threads, so it's got a lot of punch, a lot of punch. As you can see, we do have Windows 11 Pro running right here. Over here, we've got our 32 gigs of RAM. By the way, you can see that our hard drive and our memory are high usage. That's because on Steam, I am currently downloading a game. By the way, we got Helldivers here, and I'm pulling in Sons of the Forest right now. So both of these games will be in here in a second. We are capping out everything, so we're doing that on top of doing all of the Windows updates and everything else at the same time. And it's still running smooth as glass. This thing is definitely a powerhouse. Now, while this is downloading, let me tell you what I have planned for this. Oh, looky there, Sons of the Forest is ready to play. Tell you what, and Helldivers is ready to play. While we're waiting, both of them were downloading at the same time, by the way, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and let Sons of the Forest launch up. Now, turn this volume down because it is going to get a little loud. What I am doing, if any of you guys have been on this channel for any extended period of time, you know that this is not where it actually started. It all started on my other channel, which has gone all less than lethal self-defense. If you haven't seen it, I will toss some links down there in the description for you so you can see it. I am going to be starting a non-lethal self-defense podcast shortly, and I'm going to resurrect the gameplay videos for this channel. So we're going to be doing some gameplay run-throughs. You guys know I love the horror games, and you love torturing me on the horror games, so that's great. We'll get some of the survival games that I love to play, and we're going to do all of it on that NucBox. So basically the entire channel is going to come down to that NucBox. And as you can see, we got Sons of the Forest up here. Now let me check our options here, and let's just see what we got. So right now we're running max FPS, 1920 by 1080. We're running high draw distance. Looks like we got medium. Let's just go with default settings and let's see how the game actually runs. So let's go ahead, single player. I'm just going to do a new game, and we'll just do normal. Let's not even get crazy here because we're not going to play this playthrough. I will here in the near future be doing a complete hard playthrough on Sons of the Forest, which, by the way, I beat accidentally, and I mean that literally, on hard the other day. So, all right. So let's jump in here. Let's see what this actually looks like. And Sons of the Forest can be pretty intensive. When you get into some of the weather, especially into the trees, you get a lot of wind, things moving around, you get the cannibals attacking, which, by the way, we're going to have to be a little bit careful with the cannibals. Some of them are not YouTube friendly. We'll go ahead and say that. So right now we're going to look at not running into cannibals. I just want to run around a little bit. Let's see how it reacts and how it moves around. So keep in mind, while we're playing this game, we are still updating the system in the background. So we're going to multitask the snot out of this thing. So, all right. So it should start in our regular helicopter scene. And you know what? Since we're going to do this, let's bring up our volume here. All right, here we go. You know what? I'm going to skip this part. There we go. I'm going to skip this part. And we're just going to go right on into the game here. Yep, we're going to skip this part. You can watch all this if you want to, guys. If you've seen the gameplay videos, you've seen them before, so. All right. Got our little pack. Got our emergency pack. And let's see what it's looking like. All right, movement's nice. I'm going to change that motion blur. I cannot stand motion blur. So let me check the options here. Graphics, where's that motion blur? Right there. Turn that off. I hate that. All right, there we go. Much better. All right. All right, let's go over here and get old Kelvin up. Get up, Kelvin. And once again, guys, keep in mind, we're doing all of this while we are still updating in the background. So we're bound to see a little bit of frame drop and everything else because we are really rocking this system right now. All right, there we go. By the way, guys, if you haven't played Sons of the Forest, seriously, play Sons of the Forest. Yeah. I've really gotten into these, Sons of the Forest, Star Sand, the regular forest, all that kind of stuff. Let's get him to follow me. There we go. By the way, we started on the beach, which this is a location I do like. I have lately been getting stuck up on the mountains, and I don't like that too much. So, all right. Crack this open real quick. Let's check our inventory. Let's combine this. Let's get it open. Yeah, we know how to do this. There we go. Put our axe on number 1. And away we go. So, as you can see, it's running great. Now, the big question is, what kind of improvements are we going to get once we're not updating in the background and everything? And I have a feeling we're going to see some pretty substantial improvements. So let me drop out of this real quick. And what I want to do is let's see how close we are to done with the updates completely. All right. Yeah, guys, if you don't play Sons of the Forest, you really should try it. It really is good. All right, so as you can see, our CPU has dropped down 20%, so I'm assuming we're probably pretty much done with the updates right now. And it's probably pending an upgrade or a reboot if I had to bet. Let me take a look here. So, the next thing we're going to be doing on this system, we know this is going to run the retro games. We know it. This will bury all of the other systems that they've ever sent me. It's more powerful. It's got twice the RAM. The processor is 30% faster. It's definitely going to bury all of the retro games, probably all the way up into PS3. But the problem you run into with PS3 is the size. So you have to be real careful with that. Yeah. See, as you guys can see, during all of this, it was actually installing an update. So we were burning CPU cycles while playing the game. So I can only imagine what it's going to do when it's done. But we're going to find that out because this is going to be our streamer. As you can see over here, guys, we have the first 2 games loaded and we have Steam. You know what? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let the remainder of the Windows updates run on this so that we have a completely clean load of Windows 11 and we're ready to roll. I truly believe that this particular client will probably run a majority of the games that are put up there out through, I'd say probably about the beginning of last year. I think, now I haven't verified this yet, but I think that Helldivers might be a little extreme for this one. But with some tweaks, yeah, you might be able to pull it off. So you could use this as, I would consider, kind of a low-end budget gaming PC. Maybe even push it to a medium gaming PC, depending on what optimized games you're playing. So it just depends on what you're doing. But as you guys can see, solid as a rock, preloaded with Windows 11, tons of RAM, plenty of power, a great video card in it, and it's still got expandability too, which is another nice thing. You can add a bigger hard drive to it, which I probably would at some point in the future. Because I mean, a terabyte is great and all, but as we all know, most of the games and software that are coming out these days are pushing into that, 50, 60, 120, 150 gigabytes. So you'll fill up a terabyte pretty darn quick. But, well guys, this is a success. This will be seen on all future broadcasts when we start the gameplay and the live streams, which is going to be starting up again here pretty soon. On the other channel, this is what's going to be running the podcast. So as you guys start to see that thing unveil and all that, just know the GMKTek is in the background and it's pushing the feed. So, hey, for all I know, it may not work, right? But we're going to find out together. That's the best part about it. Guys, I'm going to drop links for you down here in the description. That'll have all the, it has actually all kinds of different colors on this. This Arctic Blue is just one of them, but they've got all kinds of different colors. So you can pick up one of these if you want to. you're not going to be disappointed. If you're doing retro gaming, this thing is going to chew up anything you throw at it. As far as low-end, mid-range gaming, yeah, I think it'll definitely do it without a problem. And I can't wait to see what GMKTek comes up with next, guys. These guys are something else. They really are. Have a great week, guys. Bye-bye.